Swinging their buffers, they pushed him down the hill. On, yelled the cars. I've got to stop, I've got to stop, groaned James. Through the station they thundered, disaster lay ahead. Something sticky splashed all over James. He had run into 2 tar wagons and was black from smoke box to cab. He was more dirty than hurt, but the tar wagons and some cars were all to pieces. The fireman went to turn the points. Now for my plan, thought Thomas. Pumping the trucks fiercely, he jerked his driver off the footplate and followed them into the siding. Come back, yelled his driver. Fire and smoke, said Thomas. I'm sunk. And he was. Oh dear, he said, I am a silly engine. Thomas thought he was being clever. Really, he was only moving because a careless cleaner had meddled with his controls. He soon found his mistake. He tried to whee, but he couldn't. He tried to stop, but he couldn't. He just kept rolling along. He didn't dare look at what was coming next. There was the station master's house. The station master was about to have breakfast. Horrors! Cried Thomas and shut his eyes. The house rocked. Broken glass tinkled. Plaster was everywhere. Thomas had collected a bush on its travels. He peered into the room through its leaves. He couldn't speak.
Danger lay ahead. Now for our plan, giggled the cars. Go faster, go faster. They pushed Thomas over the switches. Slow down, called Thomas's driver and applied the brakes. Poor Thomas stood dazed and surprised in a muddy pond as a toad eyed him suspiciously. Bust my buffers, muttered Thomas. The day started so well, too.
Thomas grew more and more excited. Too excited for his own good. I'm glad I'm a splendid engine, he puffed. The Fat Controller thinks I'm really useful. I had a race with Bertie once. I whooshed through the tunnel and stopped an inch from the buffers. Then, Thomas made his mistake. Just like this, he boasted.
Warn his driver about the crossing. That's nice. We don't need to stop, said Thomas happily. Yes, we do, called his driver. But it was too late. I'm the greatest. Just watch me fly by. He whistled long and loud as he approached the station. Suddenly, he saw a freight car on the line ahead. Get out of my way! But the freight car wouldn't move until Gordon forced it. By accident. But it was too late. Gordon had already raced into the distance. The old branch line was weak and rusty. There were signs warning all the trains to go slow. But Gordon ignored the signs. I'm an express engine. I don't go slow, he said. And he went even faster. The branch line couldn't take his weight, and the rails buckled. Oh, help! Gordon cried as he slid off the tracks and into a field. Hurt, but poor Gordon felt very undignified. Suddenly, there was
Thomas's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late.
Cinders and ashes!
Cried Thomas.
We're stuck!
And they were. But there was trouble ahead. Some faulty points sent his trucks one way, and Thomas onto the old pier rail. The trucks were delighted. He's fallen in the water. Luckily, Thomas wasn't hurt, and the fish truck stayed on the tracks. He was so excited about meeting the brass band that he didn't notice the giant crane. It was unloading a huge ship's boiler. Suddenly, the crane swung the boiler and knocked Edward right off the track. Cranky had been watching. You useless little engines are always in the way. Poor